one of the conveniences of having a full service campground, if you can, with hookups and whatnot, is the use of a dump station. And so we have not yet pulled into our campsite here in the Belleplain State Forest, but we're gonna pull first and dump our tanks, because where we were primitive camping in the Wharton State Forest, which is further northwest, we did not have any hookups or anything. It was totally off grid and whatnot. So we're going to use the dump station here in Belleplain. And the good news is it's right here curbside. Our hookups are here. Gray and black come out on the GeoPro 15 TB. Gray and black come out of the same end pipe, if you will. Different tanks, separate tanks, but one drain pipe. Here is the hookup for the underground tank, I guess it is. And there is water here. So we can use our flush device, which is, this happens to be a Camco Robo Flush or something like that, plus blah blah blah. Anyway, and that's what I've been using. Again, not sponsored. I bought this off Amazon. It's a Rhino Blaster. That's what this is called, a Rhino Blaster. And this is the model with a scissor valve here, so you can you can regulate the water flow in and out. Here's where you hook up your hose, and there is a shut-off valve for that. So let's get to work. I guess I should put some gloves on first, though. Okay, so these are my recovery gloves. I only have one for some reason in my sewer hookup pack. I only have one of my gloves for dumping. Gloves are gloves, I guess. Anyway, so the first thing I'm going to do is make sure that my black tank and my gray tank scissor valves are closed, so that when I take the cap off, I don't have an accident coming out. That's the first step. Second step is to take the cap off. Wow. Okay, there we go. Okay. That's not so bad. Now, I put on the Rhino Blaster. Make sure it's in the slots. Next thing I'll do is I'm going to connect to the my drain to the tank. And on the GeoPro there is a sewer hose holder that holds about 10 to 15 feet of hose. Open that, take it out, connect it to the Rhino Blaster like that. Now this will stretch out to, I think this is 10 foot, but make sure it's down into the pipe, or if the pipe is the same diameter, I have these adapters that I could put on, but this pipe is very easy to connect to because I just sunk it down about 12 inches. And now all I have to do is hook up the water. Now, the purpose of the water is to flush the tanks. I turned the valve off on the Rhino Blaster so that I can, drain. I don't want water running. I don't want to defeat my purpose by having water running up into the tanks while I'm trying to drain them. So the next step, once you make sure everything's tight and closed and connected right, the next thing is to make sure that you dump your black tank first, and that's just a matter of opening the scissor valve. Now I'll hopefully this will be out of focus, you don't have to. But once you open the scissor valve, and you open the scissor valve on the Rhino Blaster, it's draining. Believe me. I'll try to edit this so it's not so gross. But this is what we live with, right? This is the reality of it. Okay. So the tanks in the TB, in the GeoPro 15 TB are, I think we have a 12-gallon black and a 12-gallon gray. You just let them sit there for a second. And then the next thing you want to do is dump the gray. And the idea there is that the common drain pipe then gets flushed by less gross water. Gray water apparently is not as gross as, and that's true, it's from the shower or from the sink or whatever, not from the toilet. Okay, so now here we go with the gray. And the last gallon or so that's left in either tank takes forever to drain because there's obviously not as much pressure behind it. Believe it or not, it's still trickling through. All right, so the next step is to rinse both tanks with fresh water. And the reason for that is the sides of the tanks could collect debris or whatever, in the black tank toilet paper or whatever, and you don't want to have, that's one of the reasons why people complain that their inboard or onboard tank monitor is not, the lights are not accurate or whatever. It's indicating that they're half full when they really just dump the tanks. You need to really rinse them every time you dump, because again, to remove that particulate stuff that could stick to the sensors and give false readings. Okay, looks like the gray is drained, so I'm going to close the scissor valve in the gray. I'm going to close the Robo or the Rhino Blaster scissor valve, and that's going to prevent, so that closes off this hose. So all the water, all the fresh water that comes out of this, hopefully there's pressure, and that's going to shoot up into the black tank. I'm leaving the black tank scissor open. Let's see what happens. Okay. Now, there we go. So it starts to fill up, and it's going to fill the tank up and then gravity flush with fresh water. So I'm just going to have to guess, since I'm not, the GeoPro's locked up right now. I'm not going to go in there to monitor. Usually what I do at my home dump station is I can go in and monitor how full the tanks are with fresh water and then drain them. But I'm not going to be able to do that now because I don't feel like unlocking the GeoPro and pulling the stairs out and all that. So we're just going to guess. 12 gallons. Look like a pretty good flow rate. Let's see. So now the tank is almost full, or maybe even full, of fresh water. We release the scissor valve from the Rhino Blaster and let it drain down. Okay, looks like we can shut off the black tank. We're done with that. Now, we open the scissor for the gray tank. You see, during that time, some of the remaining water had backed up against the scissor valve. Open it, and out it comes. Okay, now it's time to close the scissor valve on the blaster and let the water fill up. Let the water fill up the gray tank. I'm right here, Stell. Hear her barking at me? She's like, what's taking so long, Pop? Now we'll wait for that to fill up. Again, I'm not sure I'm filling it all the way with 12 gallons. I'm just going to give it, a few minutes of water, fresh water fill, and then we'll be done with it. Okay. Shut off the water, the fresh water, and open the gate valve on the blaster. So now, both tanks are rinsed. We're ready to go. Make sure your scissor valves, gray and black, are closed all the way. Sometimes they'll close all but a, 3/8 of an inch or whatever. Just make sure you slam them closed so you're not leaking sewage all over the place as you drive. Or as you camp. All right, and so the next thing is I'm going to disconnect the park water hose, the fresh water hose. One of the things I would say is if there is a hose bib, when we came here, this hose was laying in the dirt. It's it's a very nice hose. It's in great condition. It's a robust rubber hose, not one of these flimsy white ones that I've seen at other dump stations. So have the courtesy to wrap it on the hose bib when you're done. That's all. I mean, most of us will, but I'm just making a point of that because the guy before me or the person before me, obviously did not do that. So now let's do the, I'm just gonna disconnect this. Okay. And restore it to the hose bib. Okay. Now we pack up all of our dumping gear, beginning with the hose. What you want to do is pull the hose all the way up and make sure it's empty before you try to stow it. Okay. Now, okay there. Make sure you put your cap back on. You don't want any visitors crawling up into your sewage system. Okay, put this back in my sewer kit. We're done. All right, so that is the Dump Station 101 class. Or at least the way I do it. If I did something wrong, let me know in the comments or whatever. If you learned something from this video and it helped, or if you just liked it, go ahead and hit that like button. And we'd appreciate if you would follow us here on YouTube and give us a subscription. We'll see you down the road.